So you could type a text message. So we need to hear from Mansour and Modur and Kel.
Good afternoon.
Yes. So you want to go ahead and write down what your leader's name is going to be. Okay. Okay. And then we're gonna hit that record button so we can get started. Lots to cover today. Okay. And then we can move on to the first slide so we can just have an overview of what we're going to be covering today. Today, we're going to go back again and go a little bit deeper into each one of the things that we discussed last time. All right, so I want to put the next slide on. There we go. Yeah. So last time we started to look at these things. Hello. Hello. So last time we looked at these things as a general overview. So today we're going to revisit, right? How do we maximize the potential of your project, right? What are your goals for your project? What do you want to achieve with your project? And then awareness of potential of your clients, right? Or your students. So are you aware of how much they can do or how much they can't do, right? So like a double-sided coin. On one side, you and your project. On the other side, your clients that you're going to be working with, okay? And then knowing your assets, we did this a few weeks ago for yourself. What were your assets, right? What are your positive assets? And double-sided coin, what are the assets that your students or your clients need? Then we also talked about the vision and the mission. And some of you said that you were already developing a proposal, right? A project proposal. So you probably already know what this is, right? You already know what your vision is, and you know what your mission is for your project. However, we have to work on the statement, on the sentence. What is the vision? What is the mission? Because you want to be able to make it in simple enough English so that you can share it with your European counterparts when the time comes. So even though you already know this, you already know your vision, and you already know your mission, we're going to work with that to perfect the sentence, okay? And then thinking about how do you engage the people in your team? How do you become a strong team? Because there's so much to do, right? You can't do everything all by yourself. So how are you going to create a team? A team that supports your vision and your mission, and a team that complements your assets, right? So maybe they have some other positive attributes than you, so you complement each other, right? So you can, so maybe you're really good at making presentations, but somebody else is really good at writing the presentation or the proposal. Maybe you're really good at the technical part, and they're really good at recruiting people and getting fundraising, okay? So how are you gonna build that team? And then of course, as you're doing this, you're going to start to think about what are the goals of your project and what are the action items you need to accomplish. So with action items, I'm going to invite you to revisit the A through Z list, those verbs, right? Verbs. So what's the action of your project? To communicate, to assist, to grow. What are those things associated with your project? And then what are the timelines that you're going to do that with? We already talked about this as well. So this is a second round to it. Timelines less than a year, timelines of 1, 3, 5, 10 years. So for example, I've had my company for 41 years. So needless to say, there were lots of timelines, lots of projects that you can divide up, right? Maybe in the beginning, there was a whole different set of goals, and now there's a different set of goals, okay? So think about it in terms of weeks, days even. Sometimes making a goal for the morning. What am I going to do in the morning? And what am I going to do in the afternoon? And what am I going to do on Monday, Wednesday, Friday? What am I going to do on Tuesday, Thursday? Okay, that kind of thing. Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So we really want to go back to this chart that you were working on, because this chart is going to become really useful to you now, because it had all of the A through Z actions, the actions that you can take to accomplish your goals, okay? So if you had, for example, here, youth, what kind of actions are you going to take to reach the youth of Dakar and invite them into your project? So who can think of a couple verbs that we can think of right now for youth? How are we going to attract them? How will we attract the youth to participate in your project? And then you could go ahead, say your everyday name, say your leader name, and tell us about a little, just to remind us about your project, and then tell us what action you're going to take to attract youth to your project. You could pick anything from this list. It could be agriculture. How are you going to make an impact on agriculture? It could be a solution. What are the actions you're going to take to create solutions, right? Zoom. How are you going to make it zoom through and make it go fast, right? And be a triumphant, quick intervention. So any of those here. We still need more words, but I thought we had kind of completed that list before. So maybe you need to go in and add more words, more action words, okay? In fact, I had a little brainstorm and I had sent it to you in WhatsApp. I said to teach. So maybe some of these actions that you have to do is about teaching somebody a skill, right? We had to help. So maybe if you're going to be doing things with agriculture or information technology, the action associated with that is to help, right? To assist was another one, to assist. So maybe you're assisting people in their development, whether or not they're students at a school, or you're assisting them to create more agricultural products, or to sell what they have, or to have better access to information technology. To instruct, maybe you have to instruct people to help them. They need more direction. Instruct, right? To instruct. We had to lead. Your job here is to lead, right? To lead some of these people. To instruct and to lead. And if you think of some, just go ahead and throw it out there. I'm happy to be interrupted. To motivate. To motivate is another one. You're going to need to motivate these youthful people that you want to have be your clients or have be your students. To motivate. Motivate, right? Yes, go ahead.
Hey, for me, they have many personality of a leader.
Yes.
For example, inspiration. Inspiration.
Inspiration, right? Inspire. Inspiration. Good one. Let's write that one down. Yeah. What else?
And motivation.
Motivation. That's
motivation,
a good one.
wait.
Motivation. Motivate.
Wait, motivation.
Yeah.
And commitment.
Commitment. Oh, that's a good word. Commitment. So as a leader for this kind of project, you need to have a high level of commitment.
The responsibility.
Oh, yeah. Excellent. Good choice. Good choice. Responsibility. So you need to be responsible so that other people can see you as a model and they can learn responsibility. Good choice.
Thank you.
Yeah. Who else has got some other ones?
Very nice.
Another one, to advise. You might have to advise people, right? Maybe people don't know how to be responsible and they really just don't. So you need to advise them on ways to do that, right? Maybe you need to train people, to train. Maybe you need to support them. Maybe in order for them to go to your class on information technology, they need some support. They need to figure out how to get there, how to sign up. You know, maybe they need a notebook, some pencils. They need some time off of work to go to the class to support. Anybody else have some good ideas? Okay. To guide. You're going to be a guide.
Hello? Yes.
There are many points of the leader in project.
Yeah.
For example, the building of vision.
A vision, excellent. The building of the vision. The building of the vision, okay?
Or the nurture of the nurturing collaboration.
Right, nurturing collaboration.
Collaboration.
That's a good combination. Nurturing collaboration. That's good. Because one thing is just to collaborate, right? Another thing is to nurture, but what happens when we combine those two words is more powerful. Nurturing collaboration. What else? So it's almost like you're a guide, right? But you're nurturing collaboration as you allow them to collaborate together, to grow together, right? So guiding, nurturing collaboration, a guide. Okay, what else? Any other ideas?
And the last point, it is promote the performance.
Performance, right? What kind of performance? Yeah, performance. Okay. And then sometimes you might have to teach somebody something in order to get them to perform at a quality level, right? So then that would be tutoring. You might need that tutoring. You might need to inform them, right? So there might be that necessity to inform and to inspire, right? I think that one was already on our list. Inspire. Was that one on our list? Oh, that definitely has to be there. Inspire. And then to stimulate. Sometimes you need to get them going, right? You need to move it along, right? To stimulate. Participation and participation and stimulate them.
You can try to write on these words as well. In your notebooks, try to rewrite this word. words.
Yeah, I put a couple of these inside the WhatsApp thing, but I like reviewing them with you because you have new ideas. Okay. Who else has another idea? Another idea?
Express with X.
Express, yeah, with X, why not? We got to get creative, right? Make that X really big so we know that we're playing with it, right? To show. So maybe you have to show somebody, maybe you have to demonstrate, maybe you have to say, here's a picture of all of the things that we're going to be doing. Maybe you can draw a picture, right? To prepare. Maybe you have to prepare them for success. The people that are in your team, maybe you need to prepare them for success. Prepare. Or prepare them to just participate. Prepare. You obviously are going to be a role model as a leader, right? So to show, to prepare, to be a role model, yeah.
I have an idea.
Yes.
It is promote job creation.
Promote job. The promise of job creation. Wow, that's good. That's good. That's because after all, that you might get a job, right? Maybe you have to explain. So a promise of a job creation, to educate, to encourage, to explain, to coach. They need your guidance to coach, to help them, to inform, to inspire. So all of these actions that we've put on here now will be very helpful as you're starting to go deeper and creating a sentence for your action steps, okay? For your action steps. So we had a whole bunch there with E. That was great. So we had a promise of a job creation, and that stimulated us to think about, to educate, to encourage, to explain, yeah. And then we said that there might even be the issue of assistance, right? To assist them, to help them, right? To lead them, to instruct them, to advise them, okay? So all of these now will help you when you're creating your action steps. So you see all this previous activity now comes in very handy. And hopefully maybe some more people put other words in the WhatsApp. You know, I thought of some and I just put a couple down, but I'm sure you were thinking as well. Okay, good. So let's go on to that next slide, Theo. Those were some good suggestions. The next one. Right.
And sharing the result.
Yes. So yeah. So you're yes. Go ahead.
And sharing the result.
That's right. So you're looking at what is that next step, right? What is your next step? So you're the architect, right? You're creating this project. So you're going to determine what it is that you want for the project and what it is that you need for the project. So we started talking about that one before as well. So thinking about your needs and your wants, okay? Your needs and your wants for the project. And maybe some of these action words that we have, that we're looking at, are things that you want to do, things that you want to do as a goal, things that you want to accomplish as a goal, right? So think about that. What would be something you want and something that you need for your project? Maybe just one thing that you can think about. Something you want and something you need for your project. Somebody think of an example of a want and a need. All right. So what is for your potential goal setting and goal achieving, what is a want and a need? So maybe you really need something in order to be able to work on this project. And another thing, it might be nice to have it, but you don't really need it, right? So that's the difference between a want and a need. And especially when you start to think of your goals for your project and your timelines and your action steps, that's where that's going to come in. Anybody have some ideas? Okay, you can think about it some more. Let's move on to the next slide.
For some needs.
Yes.
I see the develop of economy.
Aha, the development of the economy, right?
Yes.
For the project or for the whole thing? Or maybe the both things, right? The development of the economy for the project and for the city. The country, maybe.
Country map.
Yeah.
Promote the job creation.
The job creation is going to help the economy, right? Promoting the job creation, yeah?
Promote the job creation.
Yeah.
Is a need.
So, exactly. And that is going to improve the economy, correct? Good. Anybody else have an idea? Okay. Let's move on to the next one there, Theo. Right. So what are the assets, right? In the beginning, we talked a lot about this. You told us what your assets were. And you also talked about what were the assets for your project, right? In your team. What were the things you need? So what are the assets now? Think about them both ways. One way for yourself as the leader of your project, and another for the people who are benefiting of your project, right? The people that you're going to be working with on your project, your clients, right? Or your students. So think about, are they self-motivated? Are they world ready? Right? Do they have a willingness to learn? Is there a courageous part of them to take a chance, take a risk, stick their neck out, right? Like there's an idiom we say in English. Perseverance, right? Will they persevere? So what do you think? Looking at the age group of your students or your clients that are going to benefit from your project, how are they with this list? Do they have all 5 of these things, or do they have 4 of them, or do they need to work on it? What do you think? And we had asked these questions before, like, are they willing to learn, right? Are they willing to learn? Can they take a chance? You know, are they courageous enough that they're willing to learn even if they make a mistake, you know, and they know that you're going to be a gentle mentor or a good coach or a good advisor. So it's not going to be such a bad thing to take a chance. So they're courageous, right? And then when they get going, will they persevere? Will they stick with it? Right? One of you said that you're going to create a new curriculum for an information technology class, right? So that means they have to be able to stay in that class for, I don't know, is it a quarter? Is it 8 weeks? Or is it a whole semester, which would be like 12 weeks or 14 weeks? So perseverance. Does that perseverance also work for you? You know, to bring something from the beginning all the way to the end? Are you willing to persevere? To stay with it until the end, until it works out, till you make it a success.
Hello?
Yes, yes. We can hear you.
For me, I am in passion for developing my project in my city because optimizing the resource of my city.
Right.
It is one. 2, promote job creation of the young in the city.
Okay. Very important. Yeah.
And commitment in my city.
Yes.
And the
so
last,
the last one.
It is my responsibility for the development of my city.
Right. Okay. So you feel personal responsibility that you're going to fulfill with your project. So that's great. Good. So now your personal assets become their assets, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Good. Anybody else? Very well put.
Here.
Yes.
Self-confidence. It is self-confidence.
Yep. Self-confidence is important. And then what else?
Yeah. Self-confidence is important to create any project.
Right. Yeah. Because any project really, right?
Yeah.
But especially for yours, because these projects have a high impact. Anything else? One more thing? How's about that? How would self-confidence influence these other things? If you have self-confidence, does it help you to persevere? Yes, right? How would self-confidence help you to persevere?
Yeah.
Yeah, so sometimes one good characteristic like that or one good skill helps you with the other skills, right? So it makes it easier with the other skills. If you choose one skill that has a high impact and a high pivot, right? So it really influences the other ones. Good, good, good. Very nice. And the next one, Theo? Okay, So some of you mentioned this earlier today, right? You said the thing about high performance, right? Quality performance. Yes, we want a high result. We want them to get jobs. We want them to learn the information well. So high performance. So as a youth leader, you're leading these young people, right? How are you going to communicate with them? How do they communicate? How do they express themselves, right? Because leadership is an extension of you. So do these people communicate the same way you do? Are you the same? Do you have the same facility with using, you know, your mobile phone or using the computer? Or how will you reach out to those people? How will they know about your project? How will you let people know that this is available for them now? No? How will they know that they can participate of your project? How are you going to get the word out? Basically, how do they know you exist, right? Because it's going to be cool if they participate in your project, but how are you going to let them know that you're there? What are you going to do? Like, are you going to let the word out in a network? Are you going to put signs up in the halls of the university? Are you going to put advertisements somewhere? Are you already have a group of people you can talk to? How are you going to let them know about this wonderful project that you're working on? Text messages? How are you going to do that?
Determination.
Okay, so how are you going to do that? Determine that you're determined to have them join you. So how will you let them know about your project? Which one is your project again? Remind me really quick.
I don't understand.
So how are you going to let people know about your project?
For cultivate learning.
Right, so you're going to cultivate learning, and then how will they know that they can do that with you, that you're available to help them? Is it like in a college or a school or a building? How will they know?
Or the
Okay.
meeting.
Meetings. Okay, great. So we're going to have some meetings, and then in those meetings, you're going to let them know what's available,
Yes.
right? Okay, so meetings. What's another way that you're going to let people know about, you know, your project? Basically, you're telling them about your vision, your mission, getting them excited to participate, letting them know what they can achieve if they join you. So you can have meetings, and what else? What's another way that you can let them know? Can you send a flyer out? Maybe put an announcement on a bulletin board? You tell me. I've never been to Dakar, so I don't know. You tell me. What are ways that you can let people know? So your form of leadership is an extension of the goals of the project, right? And that in turn is an extension of the future of your country. So therefore, your vision and your mission and what you have available for your clients and your students is really wonderful stuff. So how will they know that you are available? Some people said they would have meetings. And can we think of one more way that we would let them know that you're there? Maybe you can write emails to people or send text messages or put flyers in the lobby of a cafe. So people, wherever people go often, and then they can hear about you. Networking, maybe some people tell other people and they tell other people, like a cascade. Mm-hmm. So high performance, right, is to know the youth leaders. How do they like to communicate? How do they like to express themselves, right? Leadership becomes then an extension of the goals of the project, which is an extension of you, but that becomes an extension of the future of your country, right? The vision and the mission become not only important to you and important to the project, but it's something they can have, right? So they can actually get a job. Like you said, they're going to get a high performance job, right? And you're creating subculture within a culture, right? So there's a culture in Senegal, there's a culture in Dakar, but there's also a culture within each company or within each project. You create your own kind of way of being, how you communicate with each other. So that's what we're thinking about is, what's the vision? What's the mission? What are the goals? What are the action steps? But how are you going to do that is your own cultural setting. Each group of you has your own way of being, right? So that creates a subculture within you and your teammates. That's how you're going to get the word out, okay? So how are you going to invite them? Maybe through meetings. You said through meetings. I'll let them know about it through meetings. Think about what other ways you can get the information out there, because you're giving them a really cool thing, right? You're going to give them jobs. That's important, right? So you want them to know that you're available and that they can get a job.
The communication of action by the community manager.
Okay, right. So the communication of action through the manager. Good. Okay.
Community manager, yes.
Yes. So the community manager. So that means you have like a cascade or a scaffold of steps, right? Coming from you to the community manager. The community manager might tell certain villages or neighborhoods, and then those people talk to each other. So a big network, of somebody who tells somebody who tells somebody who tells somebody. Good. Right, so we know we have meetings and community managers and spreading the word, right? Spreading the word. Somebody tells somebody, somebody tells somebody, a network. Good, good, good. All right, the next one, Theo. Let's see here. So this is important, right? Because after all, what are you sharing? You're sharing your vision, which is the main concept of your project. Yeah. These ideas can be elaborated, but they should also be able to be communicated in, 1 or 2 sentences. But they can also be elaborated and explained, right? So what is the vision for this initiative, for your project? So that other one. So you have your vision and your mission. So let's look at the vision. The previous slide there, or the next ones rather. What's your vision? And okay, so think about, let's just stay with vision first. And then your mission. Okay, so some of you are saying the mission is to create the jobs. Would that be the vision or would that be the mission? Creating the jobs. What do you think? Are you equating that to a vision or to a mission? Could be either or, right? It's whatever you decide.
So vision is a projection, or the mission is the action in the terrain.
Lovely. Okay, that's very well put. So then what is the vision and the mission for yours, for your project?
So vision is a long time.
Okay.
Yes, exactly, yes.
Yeah.
So it's something that you're going to hold, right? So that's where somebody can't move you. They can't shake you, right? No matter what happens, that's your vision. You're going over there. Yeah.
Yeah. And the mission is the action at time.
Okay. Action within a time frame.
Very good.
Okay, so what is it for your project?
For example.
Yeah.
Actually, I do the action of my cabinet in the quality manager.
Okay.
And my vision is for 5 years.
Okay.
My cabinet of quality manager is in many countries.
Ah, okay. Good. There you go. Okay, so you're spreading it to many countries. Okay. Excellent. Good distinction between those two. Excellent. Very well articulated. Good job. Somebody else want to share? What is your vision and your mission? And I'm sure, like I said before, you probably have thought about this before. Go ahead.
My mission of the quality manager is the control of the quality of product.
Yep, a quality manager.
Yes. The control of the performance of resources human.
Right, so making sure that the demand is still high, the performance is high quality, right? No mistake.
Yes.
Or little.
And the control of the quality of environment.
What was that last word? The quality of?
The last is the control of the quality of environment.
Okay. So there you have, so you're looking at different levels of quality management, right? And as Deming would say, any of these want to reduce the mistakes or reduce the scrap or reduce wasted time, whatever you choose to measure. So the point would be that your vision and your mission is going to then trickle down, right, to the having high performance in all these areas, right? The quality of the performance. That's what's going to make you special, right? That's what makes you unique.
And the vision is accompanied to many industry, many enterprise.
Right, yeah. So maybe lots of that you want to bring it to many industries and many enterprises. So you want to spread it, right? Spread it. Okay.
Right.
Good. So that's your vision and your mission. Let's see the other slide, Theo, even though we've been talking about the mission anyway, but you can see the articulation of the questions. So what is your mission? What is the mission of your team? What is the mission of the group? And what is the mission of the project? So when you're thinking about that, because some of you are thinking, how do you decide what it is? It has to do with looking at it from those 4 angles, right? Almost like a compass, right? 4 directions. What's your mission? What's the mission of the team, of the group that's going to be spreading and doing the networking of the project?
In the group, they are the building vision, or the unity of collaboration for the group or the team.
Right, the objectives. That's a key word, right?
It is interesting. Yes. For promote the performance of the team, of the group.
Exactly. So then it kind of goes full circle, right? So it goes from your vision of the team to the group, and then the project, and back again to the well-being of the group. Yeah. So it kind of goes like in a cycle. Yeah. Ultimately, always the same objective. Yes, everybody's looking at the same objective. That
Yes.
Oh, okay. I just didn't see the picture. I don't know if it's me or.
No, I was for a second.
It's usually me. So, all right. The next slide. Okay. There you go. So now that brings us to the goals, right? Which is kind of like the other one, the previous one. The goals, which we were just talking about, right? Once you're clear on that vision and the mission, then it'll become a little bit more clear to get to the goals. And our colleague just told us, right? You got long-term goals and short-term goals. We talked about that one before in module 2. But now let's take a look at revisiting those goals from 3 points of view. The professionalism of the goals, right? So something that's going to make your project look very professional. Something that is a social impact, right? So we just said, I'm going to provide jobs. That's a social impact. That's also the quality performance is a professional aspect, is a professional influence of the goal. And then last but not least, educational. Maybe they need to learn something. Maybe you need to advise them, inspire them, assist them, teach them something in order for them to participate and get the best fruit out of your project. So when you're looking at those, revisit your goals from those 3 angles.
For social impact, there are the promote job of creation, optimizing of the resource in the city. It is an act of social impact.
Exactly. So that's social impact. And then would you have to provide them any information in order to make that happen, like that educational one? Or what can you provide to make it seem more polished or more professional? Is there any aspect of the goals for those other 2? So you want them to get a job. Do they need a resume, for example? Maybe, to seem more professional when they go out to get those jobs. So maybe part of your project should be to help them write that, to help them put on paper what their skills are. right? Maybe the jobs you're going to provide need some skills. You have to teach them something new.
For me, my project, many young are benefit of my project. And at my project, I give a good product, a good product.
Yeah.
Of the price, of the quality too.
Good. So that's all three of those, right? So you've done that. You've thought about that with your goals. Good. Good, good, good. So goal setting is that way of getting organized, right? And getting things moving. And then you're going to be able to know, how are you going to measure it? Are you going to measure it because time went by, or are you going to measure it because of some accomplishment, like 5 people got jobs? That's a measurement point, right? Are you being realistic, right? That you know that in the first 3 months of your project, I can get jobs for 5 people, or in the next year of your project, I can get jobs for 50 people, right? So think about, you know, what's the timeline, the realism of that. And then what kind of tasks or objectives you can accomplish, right? So when we're looking to take it full circle as we finish up for today, we're going to look at these goals from the standpoint of those action verbs, right? That we were talking about in the very beginning of today's session. So those the actions, what are the actions you have to take to accomplish these goals? And that the goals reflect the mission, and the goals reflect the vision, okay? So now we're gonna go backwards, right? That the action steps reflect the goals reflect the mission, and the mission reflects the vision. So all those A through Z that we've been talking about in the beginning, in the first week of our time together, the first module, and then this morning we looked at those as well, the A through Z. Those are going to help you with your actions. What are the actions you're going to take in order to accomplish these goals, okay? And then looking at your goals, in week 1, we looked at the goals from the standpoint of long or short-term goals. Now we're going to look at the same goals from 3 perspectives. Are they social impact goals? Are they professional impact goals? Or is there an educational aspect of that goal? Okay, so the same goals, we're just revisiting them from looking at them from another perspective, and then deciding on what are the actions you need to take to accomplish these goals. So that's what we're going to think about for our session next week. We'll end with the next slide, Theo, which has the actions in there, because that related to our action list of A through Z that we looked at when we first came on. The very first, the one before that. That one, yeah, the action items. So the action items, right? Values that are important based on actions versus words. So we want to think of actions, action verbs, right? To inspire, to teach, to assist. You're going to help people get jobs, right? So what are the actions that you need to do to help them get a job, and what are the actions they need to do to get take advantage of your project and learn from that, right? And then we're going to think about it in terms of how those actions relate to your goals, how the goals relate to your mission, and how the goals relate to your vision, okay? So those are the 3 things to think about for next Wednesday. And then are there any questions at this point? I will open up the floor for a few questions and make sure everything is clear. You did a really good job today. I gotta say, I would really like to applaud you all, because you were really on the point. You really did a wonderful job. Any questions there? Okay. So again, just a review for Wednesday, we're going to think about the action steps. What are the actions to accomplish the goals? And the goals reflecting back on the mission, and the mission reflecting back on the vision. So these four are going to be tied together, but we're going to actually think of concrete action steps and action verbs in this case that are going to help you accomplish those goals. And you had already talked about the goals before in terms of timelines. So now we're going to look at those goals from, is there a professional impact, a social impact, or a educational impact? And then what are the actions? Is it to teach, to assist, to help, you know, to advise, to inspire? What are the actions associated with the goals, which will reflect on the mission and the vision? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. You were a great group today. Everybody had their brains on, lots of suggestions. Super duper.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you on Wednesday. Have a good evening. Bye.
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 Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Good session today.
Okay.